Hi everyone, I'm Alex. Welcome to Metamorphosist Media's new series on NPC design. I am currently prepping to run the Age of Ashes adventure path for Pathfinder Second Edition, and part of that is I'm going to end up playing an NPC. Frankly, my adventuring group is small enough that I need to run a fourth character. And I am going to build a few characters and let the party decide what they need to fill out their ranks. Today, I'm going to build two characters. I've already got the sheets written up, and I'm going to visualize them using Hero Forge's miniature creation thing and then talk about the characters and sort of how I came up with what I came up with. Let's get into it. For those that don't know Hero Forge, I have sped this up a bit, but it's pretty quick. They have many different races available. You can build and customize characters. They are designed as standard scale tabletop miniatures for gameplay, and they 3D print them, and you can have them colored. I will be colorizing these and painting them, and yeah, you can order them and have them shipped to you. I'm just going to save them and have them available once the party decides who they want. I may end up buying the miniature. Right now I'm playing remotely, so miniatures don't help that much, but they definitely help display personality and go from there. The first character I'm building is Maja. She is a Maja Grimclaw. She is a Hold-Scarred orc, not a half orc. So they have sort of the generic orc figure, and I am designing that. You can customize everything from eyebrows to teeth. There's a lot of customization available, which is really fantastic. Sort of, as you can see, you can even change arms. This is perhaps my favorite option, is you can adjust the scale of how tall they are, how their posture is, how strong their muscularity, that sort of thing. Maja is a champion class, a champion of Caden Kalian, and is going to be doing heavy armor and shield. So, sort of a martial type. The Pathfinder equivalent to a paladin, basically. And yeah, go from there. You can customize the outfits. As a starting character, she can start with a breastplate, and they have many different options, and I'm trying to find the one that fits the look I'm looking for the best. And Hero Forge gives you the option of medieval fantasy, Western like cowboy, sci-fi, and modern. And I have right now have it no filter on here, so it will show me everything. Sometimes I go with a modern piece on a fantasy character or whatever. Right now I'm liking this breastplate, which is sort of conquistador. There we go. Scale's feeling pretty good there. One thing that I do is definitely try on all of the different looks rather than going with what they say. I mean, they have a option called breastplate, but I like the conquistador's breastplate better, sort of thing. Considering putting a helmet, but ultimately I normally prefer non-helmeted, lets you see the character. It's a little bit more expressive, that sort of thing. Now, as a champion of Caden Kaelin, Maja wields the favored weapon, which is a rapier, which is an unusual choice for a strength primary big character. I think of that more as a sort of swashbuckly finesse weapon, but it doesn't require that. You can see there's many different poses, and they are all fine-tunable, I suppose. As you can see, you can adjust shields, bend elbows. A little bit of space there between the arm and the body. So it looks like she's realistically holding the shield. That's not a bad pose. Excuse traffic noise, sorry. You can adjust the face. As a champion, sort of the subclass is based on alignment. Maja is a redeemer, neutral good. So I don't want to go too over the top aggressive, but every little adjustment, every little decision is significant. Frankly, I build PCs the same way, especially LARP characters. Like, this is because of this personality trait, that sort of thing. I don't like what the Orc Tusk teeth option does to the jawline, so I'm not using it. I think these are goblin teeth, but that's okay. As a nod to who they are, this is a champion of, as I said, Caden Kaelin, who is the god of revelry, and drinking, sort of a Dionysian type of character. So I'm going with the alcohol jug as the floor option, just so as a reminder to myself, even if I have a bunch of figures, I can say, okay, this is that. The character's starting equipment is a rapier, a steel shield, 2 daggers, an adventuring kit, and a rapier. So I want to have that represented on the figure. This gives you piercing options. I just enjoy that. The nose is a bit much, though. There we go. A helmet representing that they have a helmet, they're just not wearing it. Adjust the posture, that sort of thing. Sort of trying to feminize it. All of the NPCs are women. The breastplate takes care of that. So you can't really tell the chest size, that sort of thing. And as you can see, there's color options. And they have many different areas that can be colored. Like the ear is 2 different zones, if you will. You can have your ear tips be a different color. Teeth are hard to see, so I colored them an unusual color green, and then went back in and replaced it. There's eyeballs. One thing I'm going to do with all of these NPCs is their armor, their primary coloration is going to match their god. So I can sort of keep track of things like that. King Kaelin's primary colors are brown and silver, so we're going with a metallic. They have different color options. As you can see, I'm going with the metals, which have a shine, a proper gloss finish. And if you go to something like fabric or hair, it doesn't have that same metallic look. So the category you find the color in actually matters, because it's determining what the finish will look like. Leather is, as you can see, is less shiny. Fabric even more so. Now, the champion class in Pathfinder is very much a tank. They have reacts to allies getting struck, that sort of thing. And this character is probably best if they don't have a frontline melee fighter. They're going to end up making 6 NPCs and letting them choose. There'll be range, there'll be spellcasting, there'll be healing, that sort of thing. This is we don't have anyone who can stand toe-to-toe with the enemy. That said, they can choose whoever, and we can work around not having a specific role. If there is no tank, that's going to have to change their tactics, for example. Going through and colorizing things. One area that I find difficult is when the model obscures parts of a build. I took off the shield so I could get to this gauntlet, for example, because parts of this gauntlet are visible behind the shield. The pose is consistent. They just need to, once this stuff is done, re-equip the shield, and good to go. Make the 2 daggers match. Re-equip the shield. It maintains the colors that it had previously, thankfully. Getting to the back of the shield is relatively easy. Match the helmet to the armor, so it looks like a set. The helmet would not fit that orc's head, but that's okay. So that's Maja Grimclaw. As far as naming is concerned, I often use a website called Behind the Name, and it does have a random name generation feature, and so this was randomly selected. It's the Maja part. Grimclaw, obviously, I made up. It is, apparently it's Arabic. I do not know. I do that for a lot of my names. They're usually real world names. Now, as a hold scarred orc, that is a heritage of orc. They start with a few extra hit points, and the diehard feats, they are scarred, ritual scarring on the face. And this Hero Forge uses decals, which lets you customize things like makeup, that sort of thing. So I'm looking at facial decals as a way to represent facial scarring. This figure is would be an inch tall, so this is frankly a lot of detail. This lets you customize individual. Those are the colors I've chosen, sort of thing. And that is Maja Grimclaw. You can name them. Come on. And you have the option of saving the build, doing a screenshot, which I'm going to do in a second, and ordering them at a later date, which, as I said, I'm not sure if this character will see play, so this is being saved as that. Paint the base of coal color. There we go. So that sort of adjusts to a good angle. That is Maja Grimclaw. Then the next character I'm going to build is Sala Fellfoot. She's a halfling, so it's much smaller. Different face options. She is a cloistered cleric of Pharasma, the goddess of death. Does not wear armor. Is a spellcaster and ritualist. And a field medic. So this is the healer archetype. Maja is the tank. And as you can see, you can adjust ears, you can adjust eyebrows, hairstyle, many different things. Pathfinder halflings look pretty similar to humans, so I just went with standard ears. This is a much less physical character. I think the difference is scores. Like, this is a 10 strength and Maja was an 18 thing, so I'm keeping the muscularity and physique low. There are complete outfits available, as you can see, but I like to customize. It's a little too on the nose with a necromancer robe. That, to me, looks like a believable priestess. And halflings are typically barefoot, so lose the shoes. I did add a necklace with skulls to represent the goddess of death, so I remember. And she owns daggers. Starting equipment is 3 daggers. That's a bit much, and those are quite large in her hands. Kukris are even bigger. You have the option of putting equipment on your back as well. A couple of pieces. She does start with a religious text as well, and a backpack, a religious text, and a knife is hard for me to figure out, there we go, is a bit much. That literally should fall over backwards. So you can even adjust your posture to represent, okay, there's a heavy load on this character's back. I believe I ultimately just decided to get rid of that dagger, because she also wouldn't be able to reach it. I tend to make my character, I'm left-handed, I tend to make my characters left-handed, so I move the primary weapon over there. And this is intended to be, as I said, she's a medic and not a frontline warrior. So some of the more aggressive poses don't fit. You can add spell effects to a weapon. You can also add spell effects to an empty hand to represent a spellcaster. Again, this is a cleric. Most of her magic is going to be more subtle than that. She doesn't throw fireballs at people. So one thing you can do, get her face arranged first. Design this to be a fairly serious character. Is you can adjust the hands. Like that looks like it's about to quick draw, but you can also adjust the placement and positioning of any worn gear, or almost any worn gear. Slide that dagger back around her hip a little bit more. Pull her arm out to give room for the robes. I also tend to make shorter characters looking up and taller characters looking down to reflect the difference in height. You are allowed 2 different items on the floor. Like Maja had a helmet and a jug. Right now I have a skull and some candles. Oh, there's an option for many candles. The nature of the way the characters are going to interact and meet the PCs, I'm actually going with the same flooring, the same color, the same base floor for all of the figs. And the sort of latex is the closest thing I'm going to have to a wax, I think. Coloring all the candles in. Missed one. Many lit candles on the floor in a circle. You can adjust individual candles, which is actually pretty handy. As you can see here, there's a candle sort of behind her left shoulder that is quite tall, that is touching or about to be touching her robes. You don't want that. So I can move things out from underfoot. I can adjust where things are on the floor. And that That's the question, the candles in question. Still a bit close, so I'll move them forward so that they are in front of her. I move a shorter candle into that position. So now she is safely standing in a circle of candles. Now, clothing. As you see, cloth is more matte. The sacred colors are blue and white for her goddess. And I'm trying to experiment with colors, see which blue I like best, that sort of thing. She is a twilight halfling, which means she has dark vision. No, low light vision. She can see better in the dark than a human can. And I was considering at one point putting her in primarily dark clothing, but she is a good character, and actually I think, yeah, she's a neutral good character, and she is primarily a field medic and nurse. So I decided to go with white with blue accent rather than blue with white accent. Many different skin tones. Experiment with a couple of those. Go with 3 different bone colors for the 3 skulls on her necklace. She starts with 3 daggers. I only have 2 on the figurine, but that is okay. And adjust those accordingly. Go with a blue cover for her holy book. In Pathfinder, clerics are extremely competent healers, more so than in standard Dungeons and Dragons. We primarily, the group I play with, this would be our first Pathfinder experience with Second Edition, and we play D&D primarily. So this is going to be, a cleric would be a huge shift in capabilities. I'm going with pay attention to the eye color, trying to keep coloration consistent, but also deal with the fact that as sort of a nod to the fact that she can see in the dark better than most. You can move where the eyes are pointed. I mean, obviously when they're not painted in yet, you can't see where the pupil is. There we go. Let's go with some decals there. You can see I'm adding blood splatter to the knife, to the outfit, seeing what I have as options. Torso's pretty much covered. Do a little bit of blood on the knife. They do have themes if you just want to go with something quick and easy and not customize. I enjoy quite a bit the building and painting. So I've never used the themes, but they are there. One thing that is interesting is the decals you can do. I did facial scarring on Maja. You can do makeup. Okay, so let's click a lip liner and an eyeliner. Darken nose. Then you can go back to paints and paint the lips. There we go. So Sala is wearing makeup. And that is Sala Fellfoot, Cleric of Death, and Field Medic. So, thanks for watching. I'm going to do more of these videos once a week, building more NPCs, and then I may continue with other games, existing D&D characters, LARP characters, that sort of thing. But, yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure you like the video, and hit subscribe. I'm a new channel, trying to get subscribers, and it helps a lot. You can customize the eyes, as you can see here. I give them a little bit of glow and expanded the pupils. Again, as if she's in the dark.